This is the Economic Club of Florida, a distinguished platform for discussion of the major national issues of the day. On today's program, Michael Heekin, founding COO of WebMD, on the comparison, contrasts, and lessons from the development of the Internet with the rapid dynamics of artificial intelligence.
There will be millions of people that will find other jobs or be rendered much more productive in an AI environment than as they are now.
Good day and welcome to the 581st in our series of distinguished speaker programs. I'm Harvey Bennett for the Economic Club of Florida. Our speaker this month is going to continue our education and exploration of artificial intelligence, AI as it's known, and its growing application in business, our personal lives, and in society and the greater economy. He is Michael Heekin. He was the founding chief operating officer and board member of WebMD, the heart monitoring company that turned into a leading publisher on the internet for health and medical information. Michael, welcome.
Thank you, Harvey. It's good to be here.
You have had quite a significant connection to Florida throughout your life and in your career in technology and investment. So let's start there.
Sure. I was born in Jacksonville. I went to University of Florida, both undergraduate and law school. I spent some time in the Army, came back to Jacksonville, and I was on the faculty of the Florida State University College of Law here. And in 1997, I moved to Atlanta for an opportunity to run a company or participate in running a company that turned out to be WebMD.
The title of your address in a few minutes to the Economic Club of Florida is Development Trajectory of the Internet and AI. Will history repeat itself or just rhyme? That's a nod to author Mark Twain, isn't it?
It is Mark Twain. There's several people who claimed that, but Mark Twain made it famous, I think. Yes.
And
yes.
the actual quote was, history, if I'm remembering correctly, history does not repeat itself, but it may at times rhyme.
I think you nailed it.
Something to
that.
Yes. How interesting. So there's an analogy in your mind.
There is between the days of the Internet, and the Internet stretches back into the middle of the last century, but the commercial Internet probably kicked in fairly, it'd be fair to say it started in 1993 or 94, and that's where we are. We're probably in 1998 time frame on artificial intelligence, I believe. There are some big companies that are...
So in other words, 2024 is 1998 where the internet was at that point.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Okay.
Yes. We're about that in that development path. And it's there are some small companies that have big dreams, just like in the internet.
Because the internet was known for so many things, and that's why we're delighted to have you today, because you know the entire history, you lived it, you were involved in the investment, the business development, the tech, just the whole spectrum. But the internet was known in part on a business point of view as a different set of business dynamics. Is there a different set of business dynamics going on here with AI as we saw with the commercial development of the internet in the 1990s?
That's a good question, Harvey, and the answer is yes and no. The internet offered and delivered ubiquitous connectivity for whatever thing you could do electronically, buy a house, buy a car, watch a movie, or whatever. The artificial intelligence offers the promise of ubiquitous insight, knowledge, and it remains to be seen exactly where we're going to go with that. It's probably going to go in both directions. On the internet, you can study the teachings of St. Thomas Aquinas, or you can watch the most vile activities. So it's just a channel. It's neither good nor bad in itself.
It seems clear, at least among popular culture, it seems clear that AI will replace some human labor. Are there some industries in your mind, your experience, where that will be more of a natural fit? And then also, is there more to AI than simply replacing human labor?
I think there is more than just replacing human labor. Exactly who might be replaced remains to be seen. We need to establish what an economist would say is the efficient frontier between labor and capital. Labor are the people who might be replaced or whose job might be enhanced. And capital, of course, is the investment in artificial intelligence. It's really hard to say. I'm quite optimistic. There are not going to be millions of people that are put out of work. There will be millions of people that will find other jobs or be rendered much more productive in an AI environment than as they are now.
Right. Well, you know what the fear is. It's one of the classic conflicts. It's man versus machine. Is it going to come to that? It's just.
I don't think the sky is falling. I think about in my days when I worked in finance, I would labor to put together a spreadsheet, and it was just rote work, and thinking that you can tell a machine to do that. Well, the same dynamic will happen for people up and down the value curve. Their lives have the potential to be enhanced, and it could create, as the internet has, it could create a disruptional step up in the productivity in our economy. So it's quite exciting in that regard.
What about the psychology of the market? Does that play into accepting AI, or are we really beyond that point now?
Well, the psychology of Wall Street I believe, is just where it was in 1994 or so relative to the internet, which is there's the dynamic tension between financial greed and pessimism and fear. There's studies that have found that people that, for whatever reason, don't have fear, it doesn't exist in their brain, makes them incredibly good investors. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
If someone asked you in perhaps exasperation, what kind of a world are we living in today, what would you tell them?
I'd say we're in a world that we are continuing to make for ourselves. So it's not exciting, it's not depressing, it's what we make of it. And AI will bring that to the reality as well. You can make it a force for incredible good or a force for incredible evil and destruction. And how are we going to handle that?
Michael Heekin, retired internet executive, thank you. We're looking forward to hearing your upcoming presentation on development trajectory of the internet and AI. Will history repeat itself or just rhyme?
Thank you, Harvey. It's been a pleasure to chat with you.
Now, here's the president of the Economic Club of Florida, Katrina Roll, who is just finishing up some club business.
In addition to today's speaker, we have scheduled guest speakers for the remainder of this year. Lee White, president of L.M. White Consulting, will be with us on August 6th. On September 24th, Jessica Harvey, CEO of the Guy Harvey Foundation, will be our luncheon speaker. Meredith Berger, Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Energy, Installations, and Environment, will be with us on October 17th. And rounding out this year's luncheon series is John Colin, CEO of Margaritaville Holdings, who will join us in November. And now I'd like to introduce our head table. First, Dave Micah. Dave is a 40-year member of the Economic Club of Florida and has served as both president and chairman of the club. A University of Florida alum, he shares a special connection with today's speaker, Michael Heekin. And outside of his professional achievements, Dave and his wife, Karen, are eagerly awaiting the arrival of their 7th and 8th grandchildren this fall. Bill Moore. Bill is the market president of Tallahassee's Novus Bank and brings 3 decades of banking expertise to our community. He is an alumnus of University of Florida's Wharton School of Business. I promise this was not planned this way. I promise not to have all these skaters. And he earned an MBA from the University of Miami. Bill transitioned from a career in providing investment advice and security management services to community banking. He is a past board chair of Goodwill Industries of the Big Bend and the Network of Entrepreneurs and Business Advocates, and he continues to contribute to the community as a board member of the Tallahassee Lenders Consortium. Jay Newman. Jay is an FSU MBA graduate and enjoyed a 37-year distinguished career in insurance until his retirement in 2013. His impressive career highlights include serving as Commissioner of Insurance for Virginia, Senior VP for Policy Development and Research at the American Insurance Association, Corporate VP at Cigna Corporation, and the inaugural head of Citizens Property Insurance Corporation. And rounding out the head table is Valerie Wickbolt. She is president of Avail Strategies and boasts nearly 2 decades of experience in high-profile communications and consulting. Leading the firm alongside CEO Heath Beach, she guides clients in technology, aerospace, and healthcare sectors. Valerie's career includes notable roles at HCA Healthcare, the Florida Department of Revenue, and the James Madison Institute. Passionate about youth, she mentors at a local Title I elementary school. Which one? Riley, okay, and serves on the board of Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Big Bend. A native of Florida, Valerie was recently honored as 40 under 40 Rising Stars in Florida politics by the News Service of Florida. Let's give them all another round of applause. And now I invite Bill Moore to introduce our featured speaker, Michael Heekin.
Well, I'm honored to introduce our speaker today, Michael Heekin. As he said, he's a graduate of the University of Florida with degrees in accounting and law. He also received an MBA from the Wharton School of Business. Early in his career, Michael served as a captain in the United States Army on active duty for 4 years in Fulda, Germany, and Washington, D.C. In addition, he served in the United States Army Reserve for an additional 9 years. Michael, thank you for your service. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. He was also, I know we have a lot of Gator things going here, but he was a former Associate Dean of Florida State University College of Law. And I, too, did go to FSU, and I'm a Golden Chief, so I got to put that out there as well. But anyway, Michael was the founding Chief Operating Officer and board member of WebMD and has held leadership roles in several other healthcare service information companies. And those, Mike served as an advisor and chief operating officer to the Moffitt Cancer Center, the M2Gen. M2Gen is a cancer genetics research company. He served numerous other boards. I had to kind of shorten this, as I told him. It's kind of impressive when you do one of these. You're like, I need to start doing more things in life. It's unbelievable. But many other boards, and some of those that include is executive board of Boy Scouts of America for the Atlanta Area Council, the board of trustees for the University of Florida, Governor Jeb Bush's Health Information Advisory Board, and then the board of the Research Foundation of the Atlanta VA. Without further ado, please welcome Michael Heekin.
Bill, thank you very much for those kind words. You forgot to mention my full head of hair. So I would like to thank Lisette and Katrina and Marion Hoffman and the members of the Florida Economic Club for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you. I'd like to start. I have a smartphone here. When I went to the smartphone to reveal a couple of things, last night I asked it about whether or not AI is just really like a human reptilian brain, which is in charge of course, breathing and perspiration, but it's also in charge of reward and revenge and loyalty. And so that would make it a good for autonomous warfare. But I don't think it could develop the complete works of Shakespeare anew And as a matter of fact, it agreed with me, and I'm going to tell you what it said in a minute. But first, an AI joke. A machine learning AI machine walks into a bar. The bartender asks, "What will you have?" The algorithm says, "What's everybody else having?" That's an AI joke. It's kind of thin gruel. So what I asked ChatGPT last night, and if you don't use ChatGPT and the others, you really should. It is helping them because it's. We're going to talk about the fact that the more data it acquires, the stronger it is, the more powerful it is. But it's also an incredible search engine. If I ask DuckDuckGo for something, you go, "That's not it. That's not even close." But ChatGPT is a great search engine, and I think the others are as well, Replica and so forth. So I posed this to ChatGPT, and I'm going to say this. It's a little long, but it really will summarize artificial intelligence. By the way, if anybody disagrees or questions or anything, I look forward. I guess we're going to have Q&A at the end. Okay, so here's what I posed. I asked, is AI's thinking like the reptilian part of the human brainstem? And it answered, AI does not think in the way humans do. Reptilian brain, the term refers to the basal ganglia, which is responsible, this is AI at its best, isn't it? Which is responsible for basic survival instincts and behaviors such as aggression, dominance, territoriality, and ritual displays. It sounds like my family with my 7 brothers and a sister. It is considered the most primitive part of the brain. Okay, it goes on. AI functioning. AI operates based on algorithms and data. Data is key. If you don't leave anything else, data is key. It processes information through mathematical models and statistical methods. AI doesn't have instincts, does not have instincts, emotions, or consciousness. Its thinking is purely computational, following the logic and rules programmed to it. While the reptilian brain is associated with basic survival functions, AI can perform complex tasks, analyze vast amounts of data, recognize patterns, and make predictions. I'll go on, but I won't go on, but that's what it's saying. First of all, I'm going to guess that it's capable of lying, so maybe everything it said, it was probably digging into my background and draining my savings account yesterday as we were talking. So, like I said, AI it's a tool. As far as we know, it's not capable of innovative, of thinking in order to develop. It can take the works of the Beatles and it can compose a new song and have Paul McCartney sing it, and it sounds a lot like the Beatles because it's got the same meter and the same interplay of instruments and so forth. But as far as we know, it's not capable at this point, I'm going to guess never, of original thought. It's not going to recreate a masterpiece like the complete works of Shakespeare or the City of God by Augustine or whoever. The reason why I'm here is not because I know much about AI, but the reason why I'm here is I lived an interesting part of the internet, which is the commercial development of the internet in the prime years between 1994 through 2000. And so let's start shoveling some coal. Here's the, all right, come on. Of the internet. Okay, and so, and as you can see, the reason why we're going to talk about the internet is there are some patterns that appear that its commercial development will follow what the internet did before it. That's why we're going to look at the internet. 1968, Al Gore invents the internet. Go on from there. Skip down to Netscape in 1994. Netscape was founded by founders Mark Andreessen and Jim Clark of Silicon Graphics. Remember that name, Jim Clark, is going to play into the history of WebMD as well. when we bought his company, another company. Okay, now I'm going to use what's happening at the company that I know with what's happening in the internet, and I'll go back and forth. Internet, WebMD, because we weren't one of those companies that followed the internet, thank goodness. I think that's one of the keys to the success, to the extent we were successful. We weren't chasing after money. I'm going to show you an advertisement from a company that did. It lasted 9 months. It raised $82.5 million. Its stock went out at 11 a share. 9 months later, it was trading at 19 cents a share. So in 1994, this young, really he's a genius, Jeff Arnold, he's kind of an evil genius, but Jeff Arnold is 24 years old. He graduated, or he left University of Georgia 1 credit hour short of getting a degree. And he became a drug rep for one of the big, I think it was one of those gastrointestinal things about that controlled stomach acidity, and they gave him a list of doctors that he had to detail, go and tell them about this new wonder drug. But Jeff found a way to do it, and he would be done by 1 o'clock, and he'd sit around at the swimming pool at his apartment complex. And then the owner of the apartment complex had this thing, this little thing that monitors hearts, and I have one here. This is the WebMD monitor. When you have a funny heartbeat, it's kind of, you go to the doctor's office, it's like taking your car to the garage. It's not going to make the noise, okay? So that when you get wired up with the EKG, it rarely shows anything. So this captures the diagnosis. It's much more successful at capturing the diagnosis. You put on 2 wires. I could be wearing one now, and when you feel it, you push a button in the center, and when you get the chance, you put this on a phone and dial 1-800-771-5252. We put it on, went to trouble, and you would talk to one of our cardiac techs who knew who you were because you were pre-enrolled. So moving on now, Jeff Arnold, through his hard work and sales abilities, and he could sell anything to anybody, the company enjoyed rapid growth. Now, that was it right here. This is our deal. And in 1995, it's one of the inflection points of the internet. A Netscape browser was launched. Or excuse me, it conducted an IPO in 1995, an initial public offering, which blew the market up. It caused a lot of, like, wait, what is this? I thought internet was this geeky toy for hobbyists, but it made lots of money in the IPO. Another thing, Alta Vista, owned by Digital Equipment, came on the market. That was a search engine. 1995 continued. CompuServe, America Online, Prodigy, began internet access. America Online had been a private, offline community that you could email other people and so forth for about 8 years at that time. Okay, Microsoft launches Internet Explorer, Craigslist, Amazon, eBay, etc., and then that began the commercial internet. It's no longer a hobbyist, it's a hobbyist proposition. There are people making money on the internet. Internet developments in 1996, Hotmail, first web-based mail, Telecommunications Act of 1996, really simplified access to the telephony that would enable the internet. And I want to stop now and editorialize. In my opinion, there are 2 founders of the internet. One is President Bill Clinton, and the other is Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, because they had the good sense to keep their mitts off the internet. And to this day, the internet is an American proposition that other people are using around the world, but we're dominant in the internet because we didn't kill it in its crib. Think about AI in a minute. We'll talk about that. So, okay. Boom. Let me see. Okay. Jeff Arnold quits his job, his pharma detailing job, hires a sales team, et cetera, et cetera. Things are going, takes on a lot of investors. Ted Turner's investment advisor, the Frist family out of Nashville, that one was a senator, one was the CEO of HCA, one was really rich. Members of the Atlanta community and Nashville communities. So he developed his sales ability developed this world-class band of investors. All right, internet developments, browser wars, Google, Justice Department tells Microsoft you can't require people using Windows 95 to use your crummy browser. And so there you go. More internet develops in 97. We're starting to see the frenzy heat up, startup teams. We're finding people that were given money on the back of the, do I say it on this one? No, back of the napkin business models. It's an IPO mill, and there's a lot of people, so they would, the value proposition is, we got this great idea, we're going to sell pet food online or whatever, and we're going to deal make our way to world domination. And one of the things that was symptomatic of that is when we would go to talk to another internet company, one of these startups, the first thing they would do is they'd say, let me show you our computer room. And when somebody came to see us, it was the same thing. It gave us reality because we didn't really have businesses. So, and that created, see, we're for real, we have a computer. This is before the web hosting and so forth, and you had to have your own, and they were just kick butt. I mean, it was a smoked glass, low lighting, lights flashing everywhere and all that. It was all Hollywood. All right. Now, here's the lexicon of, there was this lingo that developed. Some of it carried over to other areas, but there's deal-making lingo in the internet. First thing is, they'd say, what do you do? I'd say, we're an integrated health information delivery, blah, blah, blah. And at the end, they go, wow, congratulations on your business model, man. Not congratulations on your business, but it's, in other words, okay, that makes sense. Congratulations, you're ahead of a lot of people. And so, let's see, so next one, the next two bullets are all product oriented. Again, it's symptomatic of the fact that nobody knew how they were going to make money. They didn't have a business model. That's not true to say nobody did, but you know, this is prime real estate. This is a killer app. This is the secret sauce. It's sticky content. No, that's vaporware. No, we're going to do a soft launch first. That's vaporware. Then it'll be a hard launch. You're going to love it. Hey, that's a nice property, man. In other words, yeah, I like your website or whatever. We're going to capture the customer's desktop, and it'll be so sticky that he'll come back. In fact, yeah, but will the dogs eat the dog food? In other words, yeah, but is he really going to? They're really going to, okay, we're moving on internet time. We're first mover advantage. It's a land grab out there, et cetera, et cetera. We're deal making the last two. Oh, they're pregnant with us once they open their kimono. In other words, once we go to talk to them about some deal and we hear their business model, then we've got some sort of leverage over them because now we've got the secret plans for the invasion of Normandy. And then the last one is, what's your burn? That was in fact, there's a great book on the internet called Burn Rate. And so that's what it is. What's your burn? How much money are you spending? How much net are you spending each month? And it was normally measured in six figures, sometimes seven, not counting cents. WebMD in 1997, it reorganizes the heart monitoring company. It hires a professional executive management team. I was on that. And then we hired a bunch of Russian rocket scientists, a bunch of Jewish Russian rocket scientists from Tel Aviv to develop us a website. Well, you and I know that we could take out this smartphone and we could launch a website in about 5 minutes if you have a credit card, okay? But back then, that was a huge undertaking just to develop a website. So we had these guys working. We flew them over from Tel Aviv, and then they flew back, and then we flew them over again. And the website for us, because we were still thinking about this heart monitoring, we wanted an elegant return path. When we had the EKGs, we would post it on the website. The doc would then go there and look at all of his EKGs in his evening. Now, remember, that was like 32K download speed at the time. So that was a little bit of an issue, but we kind of glossed over. Okay. Oh, in 1997, we also had a scare from the Health and Human Services Office of Inspector General. We were killing other heart monitoring companies. We were growing at a top line of 10% a month. We were just destroying the industry was growing at a top line of about 4% a year. So we were taking business. And somebody turned us in to the OIG. Here, they're bribing the doctors. Nobody could do this without bribing the doctors. We weren't, but it scared us because they said, okay, we're going to stop reimbursements until we get to the bottom of this. You'll get a letter in the next 4 to 6 weeks. We're going to expect you to respond to the letter with all the information asked for. This was a Friday afternoon. I was a brand new chief operating officer, and I said, we won't be here in 4 to 6 weeks because you're half of our revenue. So if you'd come this weekend, we'll give you the keys to every file cabinet. We'll answer every question you got. We'll order in pizzas. They go, we're the federal government. We don't do that. So we went and got a temporary restraining order on Monday morning. We dodged the bullet. All right. Okay. Oh, I backed up. Sorry. Now, our board, I'm going to skip over that. With our vision statement, where our head was at still in 1997, we were still going to be a healthcare technology, integrated medical telephony platform, et cetera, et cetera. We're still thinking like we were healthcare providers. By the way, that is not a PowerPoint slide because we found that at that point in time that at the time that you most needed PowerPoint to operate, it wouldn't. Like in the office of the Chief Executive Officer of DuPont, Chad Holliday, we're sitting there going, like the old thing show, here's the old FedEx commercial, and here's taking shadow images of different things. So if we're really serious about a presentation, it would be in writing. We'd flip charts. Okay, the management, reorganizes the heart monitoring company, Endeavor, Fortunately, I backed up the wrong way. It was very smart of me to realize that. Okay, in 1998, this was the real inflection point year in the internet. Google launches drcoop.com, which was not consequential, but it was to us because that was our big competitor, launches an IPO that's named after C. Everett Koop, the Surgeon General, who had nothing to do with the site other than his name. Release of the first major internet themed movie, You've Got Mail, with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. And then 41% of American adults that year went online. So it's mainstream now. The internet is mainstream. Continued. We changed our name to WebMD.com and .net. We acquired those domain names. We tried everything. Those were the first that were really available. Dr. Web, Web Doctor, Healthy Doc, et cetera, et cetera. And that one, the WebMD wasn't taken either, but it was owned by a company, ran a company out of his garage in California named Webmaster Design. So we bought the 2 domains from him for $10,000 total. Now you say, oh, he really got snooker, but we gave that name brand. Okay, we sell our heart monitoring business, much to the delight of our board. We went whole hog, internet-based health information, and then we began discussions with CNN to be their online moment of health partner. There's one of our members of our team was on the founding team at Turner Broadcasting. He had great stories to tell, and he really helped us with that. We run out of cash for the only time. We run out of cash, and an existing subordinated debt lender saves the day, bridges us, and the reason for that is we were pending a funding round from HBO and Company, not the TV thing, but it was at the time it was a high-flying health information technology company. Okay, then we began negotiating carriage deals, the deals with, let's say, Lycos, which was a portal, and we say we will be your health channel, and we'll split the revenue for that health channel. We began those. The CNN deal in late 1998 was consummated, resulting in 15 moments of health public service announcement across 8 CNN properties every day. We became very visible on CNN, and therefore visible because CNN at the time was the 800-pound gorilla in cable news. Late 1994, DuPont, I think, is a large part as a result of the CNN Moments of Health. DuPont calls us and says they've decided they're going to reposition themselves, and everybody did this. Siemens, the German Bayer, all the guys with Roundup out of St. Louis. Monsanto, thank you. Okay, everybody wanted to become a life sciences company. They weren't selling stinking chemicals. They were a life sciences company, and DuPont decided that that a partnership with us would help them reposition themselves. Oh, I got this wrong. Okay, could you please write up and down on the... No, I'm just kidding. So more internet, the internet frenzy's in full swing. AOL buys Netscape, Napster, first peer-to-peer file sharing technology on the web. Later they got spanked and put out of business for copyright infringement, et cetera, et cetera. More good stuff. Okay. WebMD and DuPont announce a strategic partnership in which DuPont agrees to pay WebMD $325 million in revenue, not investment, revenue. Everything that nobody had was business model. If you didn't have a business model, you couldn't get revenue. They agreed to give us $325 million to share, to sponsor WebMD subscriptions to their doctors on which they could propagandize about how they were a life sciences company. And then also WebMD and Microsoft. Big guys, negotiate a carriage deal on the MSN portal after protracted negotiations. WebMD's rival, Healthion, owned by Jim Clark, the same guy that launched the IPO of Netscape, started a new company. He wanted to call it Healthscape, but Netscape he had already sold at the time, said, no, that would be name infringement. So he called it Healthion, and they called us out of the blue because they had read that DuPont had put in $325 million in an investment, but it was better than that. It was revenue. That was golden. And so they said, we'd like to talk to you. So they came down to Atlanta. Jim Clark was literally in the air from Palm Beach over to his place in Silicon Valley. He turned around his jet, and it came back to Atlanta over Kansas. And he was complaining about that to us. Let's see. So, and then WebMD and Microsoft complete a strategic integration partnership, and they tender offered for 19.99% of our privately held stock. That's significant to, at least at the time, at SEC regulations. That gave all of us. I was arguing with my wife that morning about we can't afford to have somebody mow our lawn. And then in the afternoon, I won't say what it was, it's because it's not as much as you would think. But anyway, so we were introduced to the idea of liquidity. All right, so then Microsoft at the end of 1999 runs a keiretsu, which is cool, Japanese word for like a consortium, and they put in $1 billion into WebMD. Oh, God. Up. It has to go up. Okay. No, it has to go down. I swear, I was really smart enough to work for WebMD. All right. Okay. Okay, catch this. 1999, crazy valuations of internet. At one point, we, after the merger with Healthion, we did a back of the envelope calculation, and our market capitalization, that is the value of our stock, all the stock of the company, exceeded the market caps of Coca-Cola and Delta combined. Okay. Okay, so then News Corp and WebMD began talks resulting in a strategic partnership, et cetera, et cetera. It was so cool. We got to sit in the room with Rupert Murdoch, James Murdoch, Chase Carey in the building that out in Beverly Hills that Die Hard was filmed in. That was their movie, and it was also their building. You notice it was partially built out at the time of the movie. We sat in that movie for 2 hours while Rupert Murdoch, this genius about media, listens to this 29-year-old guy tell him about the future of the internet, and he's taking notes, and he was incredibly polite. It was a real experience. Okay. We consummate that deal, and here's this. So we are deal made our way to prosperity. That's a world-class logo slide for the ages. A lot of those we didn't really use. It was more just collecting scalps for what that's worth. Okay. You may remember this. AOL acquires Time Warner. That's not a typo. Time Warner did not acquire AOL. AOL, remember the little discs in the mail? Acquired Time Warner for $164 billion in stock in a transaction that certainly puzzled a lot of us, and it was the greatest transfer of wealth from the stockholders of Time Warner to the stockholders of AOL. It was incredible. Okay, broadband comes on. It enables a lot of things, videos, music downloads, et cetera, et cetera. I've said all that. Down. IPO mill is back of the napkin business models. I already mentioned this. The internet bubble starts in 2000, starts to lose air. It started in March of 2000. It lasted for 2.5 years before it regained its the NASDAQ index value on March of 2002. Companies like Amazon and eBay and WebMD were fortunate to survive. Okay, now, Pets.com. It went public, I mentioned this earlier, it went public in February of 2000, and it had to be put down, I love that, in November, 9 months later, had to be put down. The stock price had fallen from $11 a share to 19 cents a share. The only thing it had to sell was this guy. Come on. Where do I point this? It worked before.
Point it which way? She said point it that way.
Oh, that way? Where? Here?
Mm-hmm.
It worked before the...
Lisette's coming to troubleshoot.
Okay, thanks.
She's our person.
All right. Thanks, Lisette. Anyway, remember that sock puppet from irritating little sock puppet?
Hey, I'm talking to some city pets. Ooh, hey, Poodles! Did you know that Pets.com delivers food, treats, and toys? Hit the buzzer. Look, I've been out here for like 10 minutes. It's easy. Come on, I see the delivery for the parakeet.
It sold that sock puppet. It was his only asset other than high-end executive furniture. It sold it for a company that found cars for people that didn't have credit for $125,000. Okay, flip. Okay, we got into the act too. We had to run a Super Bowl ad. I don't know. It was a Thelma and Louise kind of. I couldn't find this. I found a lot of the other ones. I didn't find the MPG for this one. It was filmed. That's the same place that Thelma and Louise was filmed, and it was based on a Thelma and Louise type site. It was a doctor and her patient going off a cliff together. I don't get that, but that's what they did. Okay, so thank you. Okay, okay. We continue execution in 2000. WebMD and News Corp launch WebMD International, which would cover the entire world other than the United States and Japan. Okay. This was this was our vision at the time, connecting physicians with patients, with the healthcare industry, hospitals, doctors, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, and here's our ad of that. How am I doing on time? How many? 7 minutes. Okay. Really touching, huh? Okay, so would you, next slide. And this is, so that was I think it was actually an effective slide at the time. This is what Rupert Murdoch can do for a small company. This is
From the forefront of health to the heart of media, this partnership will forever change the way we understand and the way we learn. Empowered by Access.
Thanks.
This month,
Skip. That was what was her name? She was on a Fox show. Yeah, at the time, so that was good. Okay, and then strangely, the majority of WebMD's original executive management team all decided on the same day to pursue other interests. What are the odds? So the new board of directors slowed the train down to about 25 miles an hour, opened the boxcar, and invited us to leave. So there you go. Okay, next slide. There's more. That's my little thing. I love the first one. I won't the other two. Enoch Powell, I'm paraphrasing, all entrepreneurial careers, unless cut off in midstream, end in failure. He said all political careers, unless cut off in midstream, end in failure. And that's about true for entrepreneurs as well. Okay, next one. So, the critical success factors of AI. Okay, we've seen what made companies in the internet succeed and sometimes not succeed, but what do we think is needed at this next frothy environment of the untold promises and potentials that most of them will be dashed dreams and lost investment money? Access to good data and curation. I'm sorry. Thanks. Access to good data and curation, that's going to be really key, not only getting the data, but curating it and stuffing it into the algorithm. Privacy and data security, that will kill us if we don't get our arms around that. Next number, successful navigation of legal issues, privacy, intellectual, kind of a variation on the second bullet there. Thanks. 4 minutes, thanks. Okay, and then Q&A? Okay. Regulatory good judgment, good faith, that's going to be critical. And I said this earlier, I'm going to make another plug for the government needs to not kill this thing in the crib. It has great potential for good and great potential for threats. But that's same with a lot of things. It's same with, with life in general. And kudos to Clinton and Gingrich for knowing that. Next one, thank you. So these are my I was over a glass of scotch or whatever. It's going to be a hype curve unbridled optimism and pessimism, dreams and fears, analysis and experience causes people to pull back and then go forward, and then the government's urge to regulate versus perceptions of public good from AI. You know, this is, did I say this already? This is a source of incredible public good. I can read Plato, I can read Thomas Aquinas on here, or I can witness live some of the worst, most horrible acts of humanity on this phone. But should we stop the internet because of that? And the answer is no. We just need we need to live with it. The genie's out of the bottle, and it will. If it's not AI, it'll be something else. Okay. Okay. So the lessons learned from the internet is distribution will trump technology. Or product quality, and I use the old Betamax versus VHS analogy, but we certainly saw it in the internet, health information technology. You could have a piece of junk, but if you could get it out in the doctor's office, it was going to beat the best program, and that played itself out time and time again. It'll be true in AI as well. AI is going to be a commodity product. Okay, there will be some wrinkles to it, but it will be commodity. We will all have access to it. Certainly, most AI companies will not own the AI algorithm. They may own developments on it. They may have prompt engineers that can tell the AI algorithm what to do, but they will not own the AI algorithm lock, stock, and barrel. So that's good. That's good for all of us. Okay, perverse cost of capital. One of the things and I referred to it a little bit earlier, in the internet days is, if you weren't spending money fast enough, the market would punish you. And it is the darndest thing. And they say, no, we need you to ramp up your burn. And because it's a land grab, man. Remember that slide. Okay, perversely, once a company that had articulated this vision in its PowerPoint deck that made the angels cry, that's wonderful. Once it started to get revenue, Wall Street goes, oh, okay, you've got revenue. We're valuing companies like you at 12 times revenue. So you earned $1,000? 12,000 is what your company's worth. It was the weirdest dynamic. Wait a minute, you said it was worth 12 million last month, and now we're starting to earn money, and that same dynamic is going to work in AI as well. It'll be perverse. Yep. True strategic investments tend to be less dilutive. So if for instance, with News Corp, for instance, forgive me for using just WebMD, but News Corp, because it was a true strategic relationship, we got $50 million in cash money out of them. And if they had just bought $50 million of our stock, it would have been much more dilutive. They would have gotten much more shares of stock, but it had value to them. And so it's incumbent upon all these AI companies to recognize that and to be smart about their deal-making activities. Okay. Is that it? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to open it up to questions now. Great.
Mike, thanks for being here. So I'm curious about understanding your hands-on approach to the internet and government regulation. So we roll forward now, say 20 years since those days, and there's an awful lot of discussion now around, how the internet has changed society and kids and access to information and screen time and all of the difficulties that's causing. So since you're trained as a lawyer, what do you think about liability protections, and what would you do differently this time around?
I think we have now made the case that social media is like giving them a pack of cigarettes. I wouldn't have said that, but that's different than saying, this could be dangerous at first. It's now clear it needs some regulation, but it shouldn't be it should be ex post, not in advance, is my opinion. We need to carefully watch because you heard it from me first. The people in Washington don't have a monopoly on good sense. So,
Everybody
or Tallahassee.
knows all good ideas come from inside the Beltway.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Good question. Okay. Yes, sir.
What are the energy implications of the growth of AI?
It's huge. What are the energy implications of web hosting, of data centers, of electric vehicles, and of AI, which is basically data center? It's huge. We're going to have to address that. Sir.
Here, if you speak into the microphone, we have a live audience, so.
Just this morning in this morning's Wall Street Journal, there was an article about data sources to feed the AI are being shut down or shut off.
Yeah.
Any comments about what that portends for AI going forward?
I haven't read the article. If they're using proprietary data, of course, you have to pay for it. You should have to pay for it. And I'm sure that, I'm going to guess that's what they're complaining about. There's a lot of stuff that's public domain that's very valuable to AI algorithms. Here's a dirty little secret. When you have ChatGPT and you ask it a question, it's learning at your expense. Well, not at your, it's learning from what you want to know. And so there's something called a data flywheel. One is, here's the dream of every AI company, that you use all the public domain data you can, but you also acquire data moats where it's your consumer behavior that like Publix has. It has this consumer behavior that only it can use, like obviously probably what the Wall Street Journal is talking about. And then on there it creates the data moat, it's all walled off, creates a data flywheel, because the more it uses that data, the more people add to the data, and it's a virtuous circle on up like that. It's like the economist said, sure it works in real life, but will it work on the whiteboard? So we'll see how that goes, but at least that's the theory right now.
Okay, no other questions? Well, Michael, we have something for you, and want to thank you for sharing your thoughts and insights with us. Next month, we actually have someone speaking on autonomous trucking. So, this is the third AI, autonomous, I don't know what you call it, technology sort of presentation we've had. But thank you so much, and we have this for you to take.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You've been listening to Michael Heekin, founding COO of WebMD, speaking before the Economic Club of Florida on July 23, 2024 in Tallahassee, Florida. The Economic Club of Florida promotes interest and enlightenment on important economic, political, and social issues of the day. To learn more, including how to become a member, visit our website at economic-club.com. This program was recorded at the Florida State University Alumni Center in Tallahassee, Florida.